Hi friends, welcome back to Sheena's Homestead. If you're new here, I'm Sheena. This is my homestead. Today we are going to talk about succession planting. Now I have talked a lot about this entire year, but right now is why it is so important to succession plant. Let me show you why. So this is my original garden where I planted my garlic and my onions, and I did get a really nice harvest out of here. And I did succession plant. You can see here I planted new green beans after the old ones had done their thing and given us their best. I have a new squash right here. Not sure if I'll get anything out of it before it turns cold because it's starting to look like it might be an early fall this year, which is a total bummer, but we'll do our best and we'll see if we end up getting there. But this garden over here was something I planted mid-season. It might have been the end of July that I put these things here. So now I am getting new squash plants already, and I've harvested a couple squash from them. And we are growing more cucumbers, and I'll definitely get a couple. You can see them flowering now before the end of the year. And I put these tomato plants in right here, and you can see they're full of tomatoes. They're cherry tomatoes, so they'll ripen quite quickly in comparison, but as you can see, everything is doing wonderful. And we are now into September. We're a full week into September, and I've got quite a lot going on still. These are jalapeno plants. I've got 5 of them in a row, and they are just producing like crazy. And this is our Swiss chard. It's doing great. And then we have our green beans, and this variety is amazing. I actually got them at Menards. Look at that. You can see how many are in there. It was an organic brand. And we have some bugs eating away at the leaves, but that's okay. And then over here was all of my Roma tomatoes. And even those I planted in succession. So this was the first box that I had planted out. And then this one was the second. And then that one over there is the third. This one is a little shaded and didn't do so well. We also had a little bit of disease problem on those, but that is okay. So a lot of people that garden with me around here have said that their gardens are all dead now because they planted out in April, or I should say late April, early May, and everything has come to fruit. They have harvested, and now that's it. But if you succession plant, you should be able to get stuff a lot further down the road. The other part of succession planting that is really helpful is the fact that harvest doesn't come in all at one time, even if you succession plant for 2 weeks. So like I said with my tomatoes, I planted some out, and then I waited 2 weeks, planted the next bed, waited 2 weeks, planted the third bed. It has allowed them to trickle in a little bit more than just like an overwhelming harvest. And I will say, I mean, tomatoes, they're just so prolific that you might get an overwhelming harvest either way, but at least you have time to start preserving and doing other things with your food, and it lasts longer too. So here is a cherry tomato that just went wild. I mean, we had it all trestled up, and then it kind of grew out of the box and into here, and it is just doing really well. But we have harvested a lot from it. It still has more that it's going to give us, but I would say we're at least halfway through our harvest on this one. But then I will take you over here, and you can see here that this one was planted a few weeks behind the others. Actually, it was probably more like a month. And look how much more we have that it's going to give us as long as it stays nice out. I mean, how beautiful. Another example here is my cucumbers. So I planted these at the beginning of the season, and it's done great for us. I've gotten quite a lot of pickling cucumbers off of this vine, but I have other ones started, as you saw before, and the same with my lettuce. You remember at the beginning of the year I had a full raised garden bed full of lettuce, and that was wonderful, and that is when you're supposed to plant lettuce. This is actually done super well for the time of year because it's usually very, very hot, and lettuce tends to bolt when it's hot. You wouldn't think that I would be able to get this much extra lettuce out of this garden bed, but we have. And we've also planted more carrots here too. So we're just getting as much use out of this space as possible. We have been super busy with the kids' activities and things starting back up again in the fall. Oh, that was sunshine. Saying hello, friends. But anyway, we've been super busy trying to get things back up and rolling for our fall activities, and we're gonna head to Wisconsin again soon. We're really excited about that. So yeah, we've got a lot of that on our plate, and I'm still trying to go. I'm still trying to plant more seeds. We did plant broccoli. Broccoli is here, and it looks like it's doing really great. And then we've got, these were Brussels sprouts, and I think we'll get a few, but not too many. My dill, I let it go to seed. You can see here. So they flower, and they flower just like this. It's really beautiful. And then as it gets older, it starts to look like this. And then when it's all ready to be collected, it looks like this. And I'll link down below, I have some envelopes that I keep my seeds in. Same for this lettuce. This was one of my lettuce plants that I let go to seed. So it doesn't look too beautiful at the moment, but this is how we save ourselves a little bit of money and keep the seeds we can trust. So you can see in here, there we go. That's where the seeds are. And we have some arugula. And we have lots of rosemary. This kind of just volunteer planted itself. I do believe I planted some last year and it didn't come up, but this year it did. And then I've got some new dill growing. So you can see behind me, all of this dill is done. And I'm just trying to collect what seeds I can from it. And over here, I've planted myself a couple new ones. Like I said, we had a really tough growing season this year. It was the worst drought we've had in my lifetime. And not only that, it was really hot, and I think all of the birds, all the wildlife knew how hot it was and that my yard was abundant in lots of things. So I lost a lot of seeds I started, a lot of seeds I planted in the ground. It didn't matter whether I direct sowed or whether I started inside and brought them out. There were critters waiting here ready to eat all of them. Here we have a cabbage that's growing, and this is some Swiss chard. I mean, that is some beautiful Swiss chard. Like, look how big that is. Here's my hand. And the plant itself is probably 3.5 feet high. And here's my basil. I'm going to harvest a whole bunch of that today. And I have some purple cabbage growing. It's not doing that great, but that's okay. More Swiss chard. This has lasted us all since spring. We just keep pulling from it, and it just keeps giving us more. And then another part of succession planting is when you are trying to plan out an orchard for yourself. If you're getting some fruit trees and stuff like that, you need to think about when those things come to harvest. So different varieties come to harvest at different times. So this year we had quite a few peaches, if you remember back here, this is our main orchard here. We have trees lined. Our peaches came to harvest first, and that was wonderful. And now it's a month later and our tree in the front is now starting to give us peaches. So it was really nice to have those ones first and then a second round later. Same thing with apples. If you remember the episode where I took you guys to the nursery we always go to, I was looking for a couple of apple trees that harvested later into fall so that I wouldn't be completely overwhelmed all at one time with the harvest that eventually we'll get. This year was manageable. It was still a lot of work, but it was manageable. At some point, I don't know, it might not be manageable. So that's why I'm trying to think ahead and be very efficient with what I choose to plant and when that comes to harvest. So as you know, I live on the borders of zone 6 and 7, like literally my house is probably split down that exact border. And you never know from year to year whether we'll tend to lean more towards 6 or more towards 7. But the point is, I don't have a super long growing season. Probably have about 2 solid months where it's nice and hot here. And other than that, I mean, today is September 6th and it is like a high of 70 degrees, which that's not normal. Usually we're a little warmer than that. So it's, I don't know, I have a feeling fall is gonna come quick this year. And because it was so dry, we have so many trees starting to change. Actually, this one is one of them. So yeah, it just seems like a lot of the fall stuff is coming early. And I've always just had intuition about those things, probably because I study the earth a lot and I'm out here all the time. So anyway, it's important to get the most out of your growing season as you possibly can, especially people like me who live in areas where we can't grow year round. Our harvests are really important and we have to know how to preserve that to last us a long time. So it makes for hard work in the month of August. All I do is wake up and can and freeze dry and just try to get all of that taken care of so that my family can enjoy the nutrition from our garden year round. It's just something that is really important to me and it makes me feel whole and it makes me feel happy that I am doing that for them. It is my gift. It is the best that I can do. So, you know, we're all learning together. And I just wanted to point out that next year you should really try to work on succession planting so that you too can extend your harvest, make your land extremely efficient and that it works for you and that you're getting everything that you can out of it. And I have so much more to learn myself and I can't wait for the winter. I'm gonna watch a bunch of videos, I'm gonna read some books that I have, and I hope to come back with even more information for you next year on this sort of thing. But I did have good success this year on this process and wanted to share with you all the things that worked for me and that I've learned so far. So thank you so much, friends, for being you, for coming along with me. It means so much to me when you comment on my videos, and I hope that I'm answering questions for you and that you feel like you're learning something, because that's really important. So thank you so much. Thank you for coming along with me today while I just pointed out a couple things, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions and I will try to research if I don't know the answers to them and hopefully come back to you with more information. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you next time on Sheena's Homestead. Have a blessed week, and I will see you soon